Okay, guys, so I just got off work and I have a pretty annoying as hell boss, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, she's hot, okay? But that's besides the point, okay? Me and her have had it in with each other. The problem is we just haven't had it in with each other, you know what I mean? But either ways, call HR. We have had a lot of issues in the past, okay? And me being a manifestation coach, I've made videos about this before. Part of me knows that I could just do a whole affirmation. You know, I know some of you are probably thinking, who've kept up with the story, like, well, why don't you just decide that she's a good boss? Because I like hating her. Okay? I like to win the arguments, you know? So I've chosen to allow this to play out. Okay? I've given her the free will. Right? Just like the Lord gave Adam and Eve the will to do whatever the hell they wanted, and then they've fucked everything up. Same thing here. She's in my Garden of Eden, and the moment that I decide, boom, that we're gonna get it in, we're gonna get it in. But in all seriousness, guys, so the interesting thing is that this week I actually did try to decide, you know what, everything's perfect, because it got to the point where she was just really pissing me off, and it almost seemed like if she was trying to correct me for every little thing. And you know, she's one of those bosses that, and I'm a manager too, okay? So I'm not just some employee. Like, we're on the same management team. She has superiority over me, right? And I mean, she can dominate me any way she will. Okay, let's focus. So long story short, the other day we really got into it about this new thing that corporate was talking to us about, that they wanted us to do this thing, and I thought it was real stupid, and she was just freaking out about it. And I basically told one of the workers to do something, and she's like, no, you can't tell them to do that, because remember what corporate said. And then I was like, yeah, just calm down. She's like, no, that we're gonna do it my way. And we just got into this big argument and yada yada yada. So it got to the point where I got so pissed that I was like, you know what, fuck this bitch. Okay, I am going to decide that I am not bothered by her. I'm just going to allow whatever she wants for me to do. I'm just going to comply, but not in a, okay, I'm afraid of you, I'm intimidated by you type of way. Just in a way of like, you know what, I actually was realizing that I was making her win by not so much, oh, if I follow her orders, I look weak. No, I was allowing her to win by her noticing that I get affected emotionally, right? Because, I mean, let's face it, it's not a masculine thing, but even if this is a woman dealing with a boss and it gets her emotional, you don't have to get emotional. So I was like, you know what, I never want to have, because it was one of the first times that we really got into a huge, you know, back and forth. Like, I'm talking in front of workers, you know what I mean? And it was unprofessional on my part. Of course, I'll take responsibility. But I mean, if we were gonna fight it out, we could have at least fought it out in the hotel. But either ways, I digress. So, you know, because she's married too. So, but either ways, the point I'm trying to make, guys, if we can stay on topic here, is I said, you know what, I'm not gonna give her any more screen time in my head at all. Okay. It wasn't, because at the beginning I used to do this thing where I would say, I imagine that I win arguments with her. I imagine that she's like afraid of me, intimidated by me. But sometimes you're going to notice in manifestation, whether it's manifesting for SPs, whether it's manifesting for whatever, you're going to sometimes notice that there are some techniques where they just don't click. And that was just not clicking. And sometimes you kind of have to experiment with techniques. And again, techniques, it's not about the technique, it's who you're being. And maybe when I was doing that technique of, oh, I win every argument with her, maybe there was just a part of me that was just still stepping into the state of allowing her to affect me, because if I'm thinking about winning every argument, I'm still admitting that we argue, you know? So I said, you know what, I'm just not going to give her any screen time in my head, right? None of this, oh, I wonder what she's going to say today. What is she going to be bitching about now, you know? Why doesn't she wear the tight warm up? You know, all that shit, right? And I swear to God, a week passes by and I overheard her talking to a worker saying, you know, Neo has actually been really working really good this week. She said something like, when he wants to, he actually can work really well, right? Which of course is bullshit, because you know your boy's the best in the game. But the fact that I overheard her saying it to somebody else, it was like a confirmation, because I even had an inner conversation little technique thing where I imagined her like complimenting my performance, right? And as a matter of fact, that's one of the things that I do a lot whenever I think of like days that I'm having, you know, bad at work, where I am being criticized a lot, you know, because that's something that she does a lot. And I'll usually try to do some inner conversations where she's like, oh, wow, you're doing such a great job. But this past week, I did it like a lot. But the big one was that I just took her off my mind, period. Whenever the thought came, I literally acted like she didn't exist. Really, that's really it. And come to find out, she completely did a 360, guys. And you can even watch one of my videos a week ago. To be honest, I don't even remember what the fuck it was called, because I'm fucking post 4 times a day. But that's all I did, is take her off the screen time, right? And it was the first time that I heard her compliment my work performance in years. Okay, that's not a fucking coincidence, guys. Okay, and what can you take from this success story for SPs, guys? When you stop looking at the version of their SP that you don't want, which is if this is you trying to get an SP that's maybe indifferent and has rejected you, or maybe is a little hot and cold, stop thinking about that version of them. Stop analyzing, what should I do next? What does this mean? What if they this? What if they... Honestly, anytime you say what if, it's usually not something good. So fucking take that shit out of your vocabulary. I mean, if you're gonna say what if, say what if they fucking suck on my balls tonight rather than on the tip of my fucking dick. Okay, ladies, what if he eats my ass rather than sucks my pussy? Right? Other than that, I don't want to hear fucking what if ever again. Okay, like fuck out of here with that shit. All right, but my pizza's gonna get fucking cold, you assholes. But I had to fucking make this video. Okay, take the fucking version of your SP that you don't like out of your head. If they're being indifferent, that shit doesn't exist anymore. That's not my reality. That has nothing to do with me. You literally have to stop thinking about it. And someone's gonna say, oh, well, I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, you can stop consciously thinking about it. Intrusive thoughts are another story. But you see, when you have an intrusive thought where it just pops up in your head, there are ways that you can get rid of intrusive thoughts. Distract yourself, focus on your breathing. But if you can't, because we've talked about it so many times before, you are not the mind, you are not the body. Okay, so when the thought comes in and it's intrusive and it's like, they don't love you, this manifestation shit is BS, it's been 6 months, if it does not go the fuck away, it doesn't matter if that thought is accompanied with an emotion. You are not the body, which is exactly where emotions are stored. The thought is coming from your brain. You are not the brain. You're not even the one thinking. You are the one observing the thinker. So in that moment, when the thought doesn't go away, just observe the thinker. Don't become the thinker. And when you realize that you are not the one thinking, that it's just some form of thoughts happening in a brain wave of activity that you're observing, it's like a movie. You don't actually, when you're fucking watching Jeepers Creepers, motherfucker, you're not actually there. You can feel the tension because it's a scary movie. Like, oh fuck, that shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm gonna have nightmares. But you fucking know it's just a movie. Okay. You see, even I mean, that's actually a good example, because the fact that you can get scared from a movie tells you that your subconscious is a fucking retard, because it sometimes believes that that's actually happening, right? But when you remind yourself it's just a fucking movie, what the fuck am I doing? Right? You're able to fucking go to bed a little bit easier, right? And some people are going to say, oh, but I still see Nikki in the corner. Yeah, but you know damn well that it's not true. And the fact that you have to keep reminding yourself that it's just a movie, or shit, every single time I go in the shower, I think that Norman Bates is going to be there. Okay? The fact that you have to tell yourself that means that there's still part of your subconscious that's a retard. So just allow your subconscious to be a retard. It doesn't mean it's true. Okay? Just because those thoughts keep coming in and it feels like they're real doesn't mean that it's fucking real. Okay? If it's a thought of they want to suck your dick, great. If it's a thought that they hate you and they don't want anything to do with you and that you are no longer attractive to them and they want to only put you in the friend zone, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that shit is talking about. I don't know what my brain is on about. They are with me all the time. We are made for each other. We're married. And by the way, the same thing happens for money. Stop looking at the bank account that you see in the 3D that you don't like. Look at the one up here, okay? Stop looking at the physical body that you see in the mirror that you don't like. Look at the one up here. And I know someone's going to say, yeah, but I mean, still, okay, so I can just eat McDonald's all I want and just look at the version up here. Well, maybe. Or maybe you look at the version of your body that you want internally and you have all the gooey beer belly. But the more you keep looking at the one up here, all of a sudden you start getting these desires, huh? You know, that burger actually looks disgusting. I'm gonna try fucking carrots. You know what? Fuck the shit. That broccoli looks so seductive. Put that shit in my mouth right now. All out of nowhere. You ever wonder why all of a sudden, like, you know, I wasn't ever drinking, right? And I'm not a hardcore drinker and I never was. But out of nowhere, I just started getting the idea, like, you know, I'm gonna have a little drink here and then. By the way, you guys are gonna say, what an example. I only drink like once every couple of days, and it's only like one beer, okay? That desire came from some state, right? Whatever fucking state it was, I don't know. You're probably thinking, oh, now Neo's an alcoholic. Well, not unless I decide, right? But have you ever wondered why you get a desire to do something? You know, all of a sudden I wanna play soccer. You know, yeah, I don't know what it is, but fuck, I want to start doing yoga, right? That comes from a state, and guess what? Maybe you were putting something in your head about meditation. Maybe you're putting something in your head about mindfulness. And with that, all of a sudden, naturally, the desire to do yoga came in. Maybe you were thinking about nature and all that, and all of a sudden, you started wanting to eat plants more, right? The same thing happens when you focus on the physical body that you want internally. The same thing happens when you focus on the version of your SP that you want internally. All of a sudden, you stop doing the clingy behaviors naturally. It just feels weird, right? Like, I remember my mom told me when she, you know, it's funny, with her, it was the opposite. She stopped drinking beer, and she used to drink a lot. She used to, you know, she used to have fun with it, right? But thankfully, it never got out of hand. But before she had me and my sister, she said that when she was very young, she would drink. And out of nowhere, she just stopped wanting to drink. And to this day, she hasn't touched a drink in years. And I'm talking years, right? So, but I mean, of course, my mom's, you know, young. She's only, you know, 25, right? She's, you know, a gorgeous young angel. But don't kill me, Mom. But the point I'm trying to make, guys, is that that's the way it works, okay? You look up here, you don't look out there, and then out comes the desires that lead you to the path that you want, okay? Does that make sense? Just like I looked up here and there was no boss talking shit about me, and all of a sudden I got a version of her that is praising me. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that how it works? God, I love that ass. Okay, if you guys want to work with me, the links are in the description, and join the channel membership if you want discounts on the consultations and access to the next month of videos. And stop being a little bitch and just look internally, please.